Hello, good evening, and Kamagani Jaipur. I'm Dorothy, connecting live from Germany, and I'm very excited to host today's Recorem Talks in association with Jaipur National University in India. So, how are you guys all doing? I heard that there is like around 100 degrees up there. I'm very jealous because the summer is about to end here, and unfortunately, so I should actually consider visiting you guys because I also work with a few people from India, and they went on and on like about the pink city, the billion beautiful castles, and the breathtaking art, and this one dish. It's called the dal bati churma, and I looked it up, and it looks delicious. So I'm actually quite sad that this is not an actual live event, so I can taste it. And yeah, speaking of actual live event, before we continue, I hope that you guys are all safe, that your family is safe, and that you are healthy. Because, like, as all of us, like the whole world is going through a challenging time right now, and we have to be very patient right now. So, but as the land of I'm sorry, not Jaiputs, as the land of Rajputs, I'm pretty sure that you guys will emerge victorious as always out of it. So I think that we cleared that up, that we are still all strong working together. Yeah, let's move forward. And yeah, so let's go to the purpose why we are all here, Recorem Talks, right? So let me introduce the platform to you. So now that you've heard of the word Recorem so many times, yeah, I'll just give you a quick little introduction. I mean, with the rapid evolution of industries and domains, which are splitting into various fields of expertise, the demand for skilled talent is at its all-time peak. And top companies, they prefer to discover passive job seekers who frequently attend and upskill from professional events. And Recorem helps attendees to discover jobs in professional events across 70 plus industries and verticals. So I would say, let me show you how it works, right? So we are here in recorem.com. And let's go to explore events. So here we are, Recorem Talks JNU. This is our viewing gallery. And on the right, you can actually see the live notifications from the event. So let's see how many companies we're here. So I see a total audience of 30, if that's correct. I have 12 companies joining. Welcome. And there are going to be new joiners soon, and a total job of 66. Nice. Wow, let's keep it up, guys. All the best, folks. And I also hear that we are expecting much more interesting companies to join today. So we're going to revisit this count and also find out how many of you all got pre-qualified for these jobs at the end of this event. So stay tuned. I would say let's go to the job seekers, what a job seeker would do. I mean, many job seekers, they love Recorem because the jobs on Recorem, they are always fresh and verified, and the competition is restricted to only the attendees of the event. Wonderful. So we are going, see, yeah, there you go. Let's head to the job opportunities page, because our unique skill-based matching engine shows pre-qualified jobs to ensure that you don't waste any time on jobs that don't match your skills. I mean, Leslie, it happened to all of us. How many of you have applied for internships online and never heard back from them? I mean, it doesn't feel that nice, so I feel you. So to put an end to that, all job applicants on Recorem get a guaranteed feedback in minimum 72 hours after the event ends. I think that's great. Simple as that. So now that we got a good overview, you see, Recorem Talks brings the industries one step closer to the educational institutions. And our unique concept is engineered to bring international exposure to the students on the industry and insights on the evolution and transformation of skills, which is very important. And they're delivered by industry experts, along with the opportunity to discover remote and on-site internships, permanent and contract jobs. I mean, now let's take an example of the seminar, right? All of you are talented individuals belonging to computer science and engineering. And since our topic is product management and data science, we have many exciting opportunities waiting for you to be unlocked. So with that, let's give a huge shout out to all the companies that are present here. And I have a very nice other thing to announce, because now we are excited to announce Recorem's User Experience Contest with an exciting cash reward with 10,000 rupees. Everyone who is attending our live event right now are automatically eligible for the competition. So all eligible candidates will receive an email from Recorem with further details. So ask all your friends right now, grab your phone to join the event before 6 p.m. today to become also eligible for the competition. So call your friends and don't miss out yourself on the chance. So I guess you guys all can't wait for the first speaker. And I would say without any further ado, let's welcome our first speaker, Samriti Sood. She is a senior product management in Diagnostics AI from NASCOM. I'm very excited to greet her today. Hello, Samriti. Welcome to Recorem Talks.
Hey, Dorothy. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Well, I see that it's great, Recorem as a company, what it has organized for the students of the university in Jaipur. So I think these events are they're so useful because I think just given what has happened over the past 1+ year and with very limited access to your college or the university in terms of learnings, I think such events really add a lot of value to students' growth in terms of what they would like to do after their degrees. So it's great what Recorem is doing at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. Wonderful. And we're happy that you're joining us. Perfect. So we can all work on that. Great. So, so that the audience getting to know you better. I mean, right now, like we have like a sense of you, but I would play a little game with you if you would be up for it. Like I would ask you one question with two possible answers, and you're just going to answer like one of the you just give me one answer. Are you up for it?
Sure.
All right. 4 questions. So, what do you like more, tea or coffee?
But I'm really a coffee person.
Okay, me too. No, it depends. Morning coffee, afternoon tea, maybe. So next, if you are into sports, cricket or football?
Well, though I'm a country that represents, interest in cricket all across India, well, I personally have a preference towards football.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And these days, it's also an interesting question. What I'll be asking right now: are you more into board games or video games?
Board games.
Board games, yeah, right. It's nice, like to have an evening with friends and playing board games. I think, especially during the times we're having right now, it's a nice way to connect.
Yeah, and be away from mobile phones and laptops and computers. Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And last but not least, if you would go to an Italian restaurant, would you prefer pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Pizza. Very nice. Well, nice. So let's actually move on while we're here. We're very excited for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do before we move on to the very interesting questionnaire we have for you. So the floor is all yours.
Sure. So Dorothy, I have been born and brought up in India. So I grew up in a place called as Punjab, which is one of the states in the northern part of India. And then this is where I did most of my education and schooling. And then I did my bachelor's in electronics and telecommunication engineering in Punjab as well. And then I moved to the south of India to work in a company called as Cisco Systems, where I was a software engineer as well as a network consulting engineer in the second part of my career at Cisco. So after spending about 5 years of work experience, as an engineer, I moved to England to do my MBA at University of Oxford. So I was a part of the side business school where I learned a lot about how do you think about customers, how do you create products for them, how do you understand what their requirements are in terms of the products that they are looking to purchase or help them solve certain problems, etc. So yeah, and then post my MBA was when my product management journey started. So I was hired by NVIDIA which based out of Cambridge in UK. So I was hired as an IoT and AI product manager. So I was essentially designing these chips that connect to a network, and at the same time, I at the same time these chips sort of talk to the network and interact in a way that there's a lot of data that gets generated out of them. And this is where we have applications like data analytics and AI and so on, helping the end users to interact a lot with these chips. And currently, I'm working now at NASCOM as a senior product manager for Diagnostics AI, and it is a product which is mostly in the e-learning space. So essentially, when you talk about companies like Udemy or Coursera and so on, this is what NASCOM Future Skills product is about. So yeah, so overall, if you look at my professional experience, I have about 11 years of work experience. My first 5 years of work experience is that I've been an engineer, and then the next 6 years has that I've been a product manager. Yeah.
Interesting, nice, thank you. Especially in these times, I think it's a quite exciting job as well to have. Thank you so much. I think we will just move on to the first question now. I'm actually quite curious what you will have to tell. So the first question would be, what would a day in your life look like when you get up in the morning, how the day continues?
Sure. Would you like me to answer it from a professional, as a product manager, like how typically a product manager would start his or her
Yes.
day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but mixed with you. Yeah. So how you would do it. So that's quite interesting to know. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
so it's very important to understand, before I answer this question, how a day of a product manager looks like. It's very important to understand what a product manager does. And for our audience that are present today, I see that these are mostly engineering students. It is important to understand that engineering teams work with project managers as well as product managers, and then there are other managers called as program managers. Yeah, so you'll have, like, for example, if students from Jaipur National University would graduate and join as engineers in the places that what they would like to work with, um, they would typically be spending a lot of time with engineering managers as well as product managers. Yeah. So so now, describing the role of a product manager, because this is what the focus is here today, is, for a product manager, no day is the same. Yeah, so essentially, it is a very dynamic day that you would have based on where your product is in terms of development or designing. So, for example, let us actually talk about some real life examples. For example, how many people here would have heard of what Amazon is, right?
Mm.
So if you see, Amazon is very much a company that has its products, or in fact its e-commerce platform live. So it was essentially, we are talking about Amazon, which is, let's say at least a 20 to 30-year-old company, right? But now, if we go back in time, when in late 1990s, Amazon was still a baby company, right? So this means the Amazon as a product was a small product, and then over the years it has become like a very sophisticated product, and they are selling from groceries to to books to clothes and things like that, right? But how Amazon essentially started was only a book selling platform. Yeah, so it's while we're talking about what a product manager does, it is very important to visualize what sort of a product that they are working on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, if a product is already out in the market, yeah, a product manager would typically be spending a lot of time marketing the product on a daily basis. Yeah, so thus they are working very closely with the marketing teams or the social media teams, and even the events teams, to talk about their products and what they have to offer to an end customer. Yeah. And let's say if a product is not live yet, so let's say if there is a stealth mode startup or a startup whose product is not live yet, so typically a product manager's focus is only internally on working internally with the team members. Yeah, so they are just ensuring that they are working very closely with engineering teams, designing and building the features that are required to be built. And then once they are ready to, sort of roll out an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, this is when, the focus moves from engineering to actually marketing or launching the product. So, while we visualize this product management job, it is very important to see the product that a product manager is building, where it lies essentially in terms of development, or is it already a public product?
Okay. Yeah, so actually quite described what product management actually is. So it's kind of like also like the second question would be what is product management? And I mean, we kind of get a sense of it, but why is it important?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you kind of explained it. I mean, product management is also like if you would work as a product manager, you also work with a lot of people. And yeah, maybe you can go more into detail. Why is it actually that important?
Sure. Okay. So, building on what I mentioned in the previous point that we spoke about,
Mhm.
a product manager on one side works with the engineering teams, which include a lot of engineers. At the same time, on the other side, they're working with the events teams or the
Mhm.
marketing teams, etc. And there are many more facets that exist, right? So they are also working with teams like sales teams who are essentially out in the market and trying to sell products to our end customers. So think of companies like B2C companies, like as we spoke of Amazon or Flipkart in India is very popular. In fact, even companies like Uber and Ola, which are also very massively, adapted products companies here in India. So these are B2C companies, right? And on the other side, we have B2B companies, which are business to business. Yeah. So in that scenario, a product manager would be working with the sales teams. However, it's a their clients are always corporate clients. Their clients are not like the the end population or the end user, like you and I. right? So
Hmm.
so as I mentioned, it's the engineering teams, it is the sales teams, it is the event or the marketing teams, and then there comes the legal teams as well as the compliance teams, and there are all of these other teams that exist in a company based on how small or how big an organization is. A product manager is the person who's responsible and who has to ensure that all of these aspects of building a product are absolutely covered. Yeah.
So product manager is very important because it keeps everything together, like
Yeah.
in a way,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
very important. Yeah, true. Okay, wow. Well, then let's talk about actually also very interesting the evolution of product management. I always like to go back in time, like over the
Sure.
last decade. So, how
Yeah.
was product management used in 2010, for example?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, firstly.
Hmm.
And, considering we are talking only to students who are based out of India, see, product management as a job or as a job role, if I have to talk about it in a national standards language, uh, product manager as a job is just about 10 to 12 years old in India, and I'm only talking about it from a technology industry perspective. Yeah. So, for example, there are a lot of these product manager jobs that exist in the US or even in countries like Germany and UK and France and so on. However, talking in the India's perspective, it's a fairly recent role, right? However, there are also product management jobs or roles that exist in companies like, in the FMCG industry space, right? So, for example, Unilever or other brands in the other FMCG space, etc., and even in healthcare industry. But with Indian economy moving very fast, and with a lot of startups here in India becoming slowly big and big and achieving success, there is a huge amount of product management jobs that have started to come up in India over the last 5 years, and is expected to continue in the next 5 to 10 years as well.
Okay. Yes, it's interesting, like how you can see it from different countries, from a perspective from different countries, how different it is. Um, and so, how was product management expected to evolve by 2015? I mean, then it was like, I mean, since it existed since like 10 years, what was accomplished in 2015 in product management?
Sure. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great question, firstly,
Mm-hmm.
and product management is a very, I feel it's still not a very popular role in India. Not
Okay.
that, yeah, it's just that people are not aware about it much.
Okay.
It is, I mean, product management, I would say, in other words, it's a very understated role. Like if you talk about the Silicon Valley in India, or sorry, in the US, or in India, we have a mini Silicon Valley in Bangalore in the south of India as well. There are a lot of people who are aware of a job role such as product management, but um, the importance and actually what exactly a product manager is supposed to do, there are some misunderstandings or misrepresentations of such a job. Yeah. So um, so a job of a product manager from a company A would be different from a company, from a product manager company, from a product manager job in a company B. Just that, the size of our companies are different, the industry is different, and it's not a very clearly defined role. So essentially, for any issue with a product, the buck will come and stop at the product manager's shoulders. So this is how responsible this job is. But however, it's still not marketed enough, I would say, as of now. in India. However, over the last 5 years, certainly, the awareness has improved a lot, and this era is certainly gaining a lot of traction, and I think the trend is likely to continue in the next few years as well.
Okay. Yeah, because you said that like it changed in the last 5 years. So in 2020, uh, how did the job transform? Like if you could go into details more in the last 5 years.
Sure. Well, clearly, I mean, I would like to here refer to some statistics that are shared by,
Mm-hmm.
companies like NASCOM, the
Mm-hmm.
organization that I work with as well as with, from companies like Zinov and even McKinsey and BCGs and so on. So a lot of these companies have published statistics of the product management, roles demand in India, right? And how the trend is expected to continue. So, if we are talking about a trend that increasing, it is very important to understand how the economy of that country is doing, yeah, or how a specific industry in that economy is growing. So clearly, India is already it's a 3 trillion economy target that the country has at the moment, and it's looking to sort of become a $5 trillion economy in the next 2 to 3 years. And if we are talking about such high targets, clearly there are a lot of jobs that need to be created, and clearly there are product management jobs as well that would clearly lie in line with the same trend, because product management is a very it's a very fundamental role, I would say, in any organization or in any business unit. So for example, let's say if a product at the end, let's say if a feature on Amazon, let's say if Amazon groceries is not working very well, no one will go and talk to an engineer, right? Hey, you were working on building this Amazon grocery feature, it's your responsibility. No, it doesn't work that way. It's actually a product manager responsibility, and he or she needs to address such concerns and just ensure that the products that are already out in the market are operating very smoothly. So clearly, I mean, referring to the trends, it's a very solid role. It is really going to continue in terms of the trend that we are looking at. It will Such jobs are clearly going to increase in the upcoming future.
Okay, so then let's go to 2025. What do you think will the hottest product management skill in 2025, for example? 4 years?
Sure.
Yeah, ahead.
So, just to make sure I've understood your question well, are you asking that what are the top skills a product manager must have now and in the
Yeah,
upcoming,
no,
let's say?
2025.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. See, for the students that we or the audience that we have here, see, it's very important to understand what are the basic skills that are required in any job role to perform well. For example, for an engineer, it is for based on the kind of engineering, or if it's a software engineering job, or if it's a software testing job, it is very important to know some specific tools. For example, let's say a Java language or a C or C++ language, and at the same time for a QA tester, I think Python is one of the well sought skill. And now, if you're talking about a product manager, typically people who get into product management are the people who have worked in other roles before. So typically they already have about 3 to 5 years of work experience or more before moving into a product management job. So if I have to talk about skills in a of a product manager in the technology industry, clearly a product manager must be able to talk to engineers, right? So in a way,
Mm.
communicates to them in the engineering language and does have skills with respect to coding. I mean, you need not be a great, coder or a great, I don't know, Python script user and so on. But it is very important to ensure that you're able to come to an engineering level and really talk to your engineers and work together in building certain features. Yeah. And on the other side, skills such as prioritization are very, very important. And, unfortunately, in a country like India, such behavioral, or just, such management skills are, not talked about openly enough. Prioritization is a must skill for any product manager to have. The reason I say this is, as I mentioned, right, a product manager should know how to work with engineers, sales teams, marketing teams, legal teams, and so many XYZ teams. Your work would never get over essentially every day, right? So it is very important to prioritize that. Okay, what are the top 7 things that require attention, let's say in the next 3 hours, or next 2 hours, and so on. And then you pick up the lesser priority items, because it's like, if there is a fire burning, right, and then you have the things that are you have to address, but obviously you will go and extinguish the fire first and not concentrate on the 7 other things that await your attention. So thus it's a lot about prioritization. Second, as I mentioned, it's actually the engineering skills. And third is essentially have customer empathy, which is so
Okay.
fundamental. Yeah. So when I talk about customer empathy, and again, for the attention and the benefit of audience here, you want to build a product which a customer wants. For example, if someone has come to, say, shop for, let's say a black colored, let's say a nice marble piece, just for an example. And if you're just giving them, let's say a green colored marble piece, I mean, it may be a beautiful marble piece, but it's not what the end customer is looking to buy. All they need is that black colored marble piece, and this is what they are willing to pay, right? So, this is where customer empathy is very important. Really build products that, you know, that your end customer wants. I mean, otherwise it just does not really bring any business value as well. So, and so overall in this point, you could see that I'm overall talking about 2 things: understanding your customer requirements, and second is actually achieving the business value, right? I mean, if no one is if you're building a product but no one is willing to pay for it, I mean, there is no business value. So how do you actually support or make that product sustainable? So, really having that perception, really having that vision is very important.
So you have to bring a lot of skills, and you actually described everything very detailed. So thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Because we are because we really want to go into the details with the question. But I think the last question, I think you also answered it. So, what skills should a fresher get, like when you come straight from university? And actually, you all already answered everything. How it is like come fresh from university, what do you have to bring, right? And yeah, so I think you already also answered the questions, like how it will be like in 2025 for the students when they will come out of university.
Sure.
Oh, I think that, I mean, while you were talking, I thought about maybe joining. I think it's a very interesting job to do, because yeah, I think you have to have a lot of skills. So yeah, it's a great job, you guys. So now I'm actually quite excited what questions we have from the audience after this really detailed description of somebody's job of product management. So I would just say let's skip right into the Q&A section of the audience. So the first question we have, yeah, yeah, what are the yeah, responsibilities of a product management? Although I think you already answered everything very quite, but maybe you also like what are the real deep responsibilities of a product management?
Sure. Um,
Mm.
so, see,
I mean,
as I mentioned, number one is clearly having that
yeah,
customer empathy. So
yeah,
just ensuring that the product that you're building is really in line with your customers' requirements. Is the technical term we use, like customer requirement. Yeah.
hmm,
Um,
customer. Okay.
so yeah, you do not want to build something which the customer does not want,
Hmm.
as I mentioned. Yeah. And
Yes.
then secondly, as I also mentioned about the prioritization, how important it is to prioritize, because typically your work would otherwise never get over, because the projects are always running. If your one of your product is already out in the market, you are already focusing on building the next version of the product, or maybe just building another complementing product. So it's an ongoing cycle. And thirdly, as I mentioned before, is actually achieve or create a business value out of the product. So I mean, I cannot emphasize more than that the top three, these three essentially are the responsibilities of a product manager, because your engineers are going to take care of the coding part. Your events and the outbound marketing team are going to take care of the marketing part. But what is ongoing inside, right? It's a lot about um, what a product manager needs to ensure is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like, okay. So I hope everybody of you in the audience wrote it down. Because now we're really skilled in product management. So, but let's see what the really, yeah, you really patiently answer everything. Thank you so much. So the second question it would be, yeah, yeah, to differentiate again, like how's a product manager different from a project manager, program manager role?
Great question.
Mm,
So let us just answer this question from the size of company that you're working with.
mm,
Yeah. So if it's, let's say if it's a startup, right? Let's say you're just about 20 to 30 people. You know, a product,
mm,
as a product manager, you would possibly be also coding a product as well. So sometimes working as an engineer, and sometimes working as a project manager or a program manager. So essentially, you are one person doing a lot of things, right? So in that kind of a scenario, there is no demarcation between a product manager or a program manager role. Yeah. But let's talk about bigger organizations or very well established organizations like Google, or Facebook, or the Microsofts of the world, and say even Uber and so on. Yeah. So a product manager, as I was mentioning, he or she is actually the owner of the product. And when I say a product, now let me actually describe what a product, can be, right? It can always be, in terms of different context. So, as I was mentioning about Amazon, let's say in the late 1990s, right, when Amazon was still a very early stage company, all it was just a website where people can order sort of books of their choice, and it was a very simple, I would say, a very simple product. And I would just like to emphasize the term as product. Yeah. However, now that the way we see how Amazon is just like such a giant company, offering products in groceries, and then there are these products in the clothing space, and then there are these daily use products and so on. So you see, right, the different segments that you have under, let's say, a company or an e-commerce platform called as Amazon, right? So it's something which was a very basic, simple product, let's say 20, 30 years back. And now it is, it is a bunch of products now that are together. So you want to look at, let's say only Amazon groceries as a product, right? A simple,
mhm.
as a standalone product. Yeah. And now, as a product manager, you have to ensure that, firstly, your product is up and running, and ensure that, it is running very smoothly. Let's say, the platform is running smoothly, that the customers are able to order their products of choice, and there are no problems with the payment, etc., and so on. However, let's say if there is a issue with a payment, it is actually the sales team that will go back to a product manager internally and tell that, hey, your product is reporting this sort of an issue. So do you see the accountability here of a product manager, right? So, from actually building a product to essentially being accountable after a product is out in the market as well. And now talking about a program manager. So program manager is essentially, someone who is managing different programs, right, or different projects inside a company. For example, let's say, there is a new vertical. Let's say, Amazon as a company is coming up with, let's say, just they want to have a new product or a segment called as saris, right? The Indian women prefer buying saris a lot, and currently I see that the saris are not sold yet on Amazon, e-commerce platform yet. And now, understanding the need in a country like India, and how women so much love this product, or like, to wear a sari. Now, let's say a new product, Amazon is planning to sort of integrate or launch. So what a program manager would do is ensure that, a new product that's being, internally being worked on, how these teams are able to talk to the other product teams, right? For example, we have a big Amazon platform team, and they are now looking to add one more product into it. So, there are a lot of these sophistications at the background, right, or internally within a company, what a program manager would be responsible for, and not a product manager. However, these two people will always be working very closely with each other, like a product manager and a program manager. And there will always be some responsibilities that will overlap. And thus this is where you have to collaborate together, on achieving your business goals. And what I have shared is just one of the examples where a product manager and program manager would be talking to each other, and but what specifically they would be accountable for.
Okay. So I'm curious what the third question would be. um, okay. Yeah. Tell us more about IoT and artificial intelligence technologies and their applications on our daily lives.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, I would like to know how many of the people in the audience here use, wearables like a smartwatch, or, let's say, smart home devices like, the Amazon Alexa or the Google Echo product. Um, I'm just curious to know, is there a way to, to get to know how many of the audience here already use such products?
Interesting. Can we see that in the chat? I see something.
Okay. So, well, let us talk about, these smart bands or the smart watches. So, for example, I'm wearing one here at the moment. I use this product called as Fitbit, right? And it's similar to an Apple Watch, but very very basic as compared to an Apple Watch. And similarly, we use these devices like such as Amazon Echo, as I mentioned. Or in fact, there are also these smart lighting, for example, that would exist. So for example, when you enter a restaurant or let's say a hotel, right, there are always these lights that would automatically switch on or switch off based on the movement of people, right? So this is what exactly is, these are what exactly are the IoT and AI applications, right? So these, three devices that I mentioned, right? All of these will always have an IoT sensor at the heart, right? So if we have audience from the electronics background, they would have heard about, RFID cards, or like just an RF, like a radio frequency head, right? And at the same time, a microprocessor or a microcontroller. So these are the two three components that lie at the heart of an IoT chip, right? And then when they talk to a network, this is where an end application sort of gets addressed. So essentially, next time when you enter into, let's say, I don't know, a restaurant or a hotel, and if you see lights automatically getting switched on, or the light automatically changing colors, this is essentially what IoT application is, right? And similarly, artificial intelligence, as I mentioned, that you can talk to, let's say, Google Home, or Amazon Alexa, and tell that, hey, could you play this song for me, please? And this is where these devices are listening to you, and using their intelligence, right? And it is clearly an artificial intelligence and not a human intelligence, I mean, at the outside, which is sort of responding to your questions. So this is what AI is essentially. And there are just multitudes of applications, and so many of these applications that already exist and are continuing to be built as well. So the number of applications that you see, that you would see 3 years down the line, would be way more than what exists at the moment, because there's always this innovation that's ongoing. Yeah.
Um, so I think that we have a few questions here, but we have the last questions. Last question. Yeah, we actually want to more. Like you said, like in the end, there's like ongoing, but the last question is, share with us more on connectivity technologies.
Sure, absolutely. Um, so, in order to understand what connectivity is, let us try to break connectivity into, let's say, about two or three segments, right? Let us look at, games such as PUBG, right? I believe, it's a very popular game among a wider audience, across the world. And, PUBG is a game that sort of helps, or lets the gamers play to with each other across the globe. So for example, you could team up with someone based out of Canada, but actually being based out of India, for example, right? And sort of play this game. So just visualizing, or just understanding what lies at the back end of playing a game like this, is essentially there's a lot of data that's getting exchanged, right? Or even imagine services like Netflix, or YouTube, etc. There's a lot of streaming data that's ongoing. Or in fact, the way we are having the current live broadcasted session here, right? So you can see that it's my audio, it's the video, and then as well as these all these sophisticated beautiful features that exist here. All of these essentially, at the end, it's essentially the exchange of data, right? And how this data is happening is through this connectivity technologies. So the first kind of connectivity technology that I'm talking about is are the ones that are supporting high data rate exchange. Yeah. And then the second vertical I would like to emphasize at the moment is essentially where you need just very basic data, or like the very less amount of data to be exchanged. For example, as we were talking about the smart lighting, or let's say even the smart watches, for example, all I need to let's say switch on or switch off a smart light in my house is just maybe use an app on my phone, and just communicate like very basic bits of data, right? So thus it is very important to see the differentiation of the connectivity technologies for high data rate applications, as well as for the very low data rate applications. And thus, connectivity technologies such as 3G, 4G, 5G. We are obviously talking about 5G these days. 3G was popular, say about 8 to 10 years back. 4G was a big thing, say about 3 or 4 years back, and we are at 5G now. So these are very high data rate supporting technologies. Yeah, and or the high data rate supporting connectivity technologies. And similarly, we have companies like Cisco's and Junipers and even Amazon AWS that support high data rate exchange at the back end. This is where we start talking about internet connectivity or the cloud connectivity. Yeah. And moving to the second segment that I was mentioning, the connectivity technologies that just require very low data rate to be transmitted. This is where we talk about technologies like Bluetooth.
Mm,
Yeah, we talk about technologies like NB-IoT, which is called as narrowband IoT. I actually was a
mhm,
product manager at NVIDIA for the NB-IoT technology. And similarly, we have other technologies like Zigbee and LoRaWAN and so on, which are more sort of lying in the unlicensed spectrum space versus the 4Gs and 5Gs, which are very used in the licensed spectrum space. I hope that's not a lot of details for the students here, but
the more the
um,
better.
okay.
We actually have another questions I just see here. Let's see. Scope of psychology in PM. That's a question.
Well, Rahul, I see it's probably from Rahul, right?
Yes.
But it's a great question, and I would say psychology would come and help you in any kind of job that you would do in your career. You know, I sort of look at psychology also from the emotional intelligence perspective. It's very important to see someone who you are talking to, be it your customers or be it your team member or be it let's say a product manager talking to a program manager, right? It's very important to understand what is going on in the other person's mind. Are they actually being reciprocative to what you're saying, or are you yourself listening to what they are saying, right? So yeah, psychology clearly is very important in the role of a product manager. As I mentioned, that you're talking to at least seven different teams in parallel. You are prioritizing, so it's very important to understand how there are always these non-verbal communication that happens, right? Which is where your body language or the intensity in the conversation sort of needs to be judged, right? So this is where clearly psychology plays a role. It also, I also call it as behavioral skills. I mean, I sort of map psychology or like understanding what where the other person is who you're working with is coming from, to your behavioral skills. And behavioral skills are so important in any sort of job that you do.
Yes, I would totally agree. That was a great question, Rahul, really. Because I also thought, like, in the beginning, when you talked about product management, it's
Yeah.
like kind of intuitive as well, yeah, because you have to connect so many things. I mean, like in every job, but here, very much so. Yes, there was, yeah, I really enjoyed, and I'm pretty sure the audience also enjoyed really listening to you because you explained very well, very detailed, with a lot of love and very much passion behind it. And this is what we need
Yeah.
actually to be also passionate about becoming a product manager. And yeah, that was a great interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually quite sad that it ends now, but we're very happy to talk to you. Yeah, thank you so much, Samriti, and I hope you have a great day ahead of you. It's like afternoon right now, where you are at, right?
Yeah, I'm based out of
Yeah,
India, so yeah, it's almost
yeah.
three. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Have you anything else to say for the audience or for us before we let you go?
Yeah, I was thinking if we have
Yeah.
time, if the audience would be interested in looking at one or two of the products that are that I've worked on and that are already live
Mm,
or
yes.
public. I mean, do we have time for that?
I hope so that we have time. Yes, we do. Perfect.
We do? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So I think this is where I can go ahead and share my screen. and sort of, maybe show to the audience here what an IoT and an AI chip would look like. So that's like one of the products that I built. And secondly, maybe in the following, we can also spend about 2 minutes or so in, on a B2C product as well, or something which would be for the benefit of the audience here as well. So can I go ahead and share my screen? Um, is the Future Skills Prime screen visible here?
Now we see something.
Yeah, do you guys see, this web page called as learn.futureskillsprime.in?
Yes, I see.
Okay, wonderful.
I think the audience sees too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So I remember we were asked this question on, what if you could show an application of the AI, right, or the artificial intelligence. So if you see, there is a mini chatbot that has popped up on the right here. Yeah, it says that, "Hi Smriti, I'm Techie. How may I help you?" And it sort of wants, us to ask for help in case we need it, and so on. So let us just write, start talking to the chatbot. However, the moment before I actually get into it, it is, let me tell you what the Future Skills Prime is. So it is essentially that e-learning platform that I referred to in the start of the conversation. So it is essentially where, the students here can actually, skill themselves, or sort of, can go ahead and do courses in artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud computing, cybersecurity, web, mobile, and marketing, big data analytics, blockchain, and so on. And I would highly encourage the students here to, sort of really make use of this platform. It is by NASCOM, the organization that I work with. It is also one of the products that, I have built here. And at the same time, it is essentially by the Ministry of Electronics and IT and NASCOM together, to roll out an e-learning platform like this for the citizens of India. Yeah, so I would highly encourage. This is very much a not-for-profit platform for students to, explore. And talking about this chatbot that we see, so, let's say if someone, let me tell you how I built this product, right? This chatbot here. You essentially understand that, if someone is new to this platform, they would obviously not know what this platform is about. So okay, so this is where this you can talk to this chatbot, and it is asking me, asking a learner or an end user here, how can I help you? So maybe I'm looking for learning content. Okay. What else am I looking for? Let's say account related settings. I've created my account, but I don't know what is it about. So let us just say that, select this option called as interest based diagnostic. Yeah. So essentially, it will tell me what this interest based diagnostic is, right? So it is asking me that, hey, I'm going to diagnose you for, and really get to know what are you looking for, like which is the kind of technology you are looking to upskill. Is it artificial intelligence? Is it blockchain? Is it, the cyber security, cloud computing, and so on? What do you want to upskill yourself in? So let's just say that, I want to upskill myself in artificial intelligence. Okay, so see, it has come up and it has showing me what AI is, and how important it is, and so on. Okay, now let's say I am someone who is looking to either, learn the basics of AI, or if I'm just looking to actually formally enroll in a course, or am I looking to, learn another technology as such as cloud computing, right? But let me just stick to this option. basics of AI. Yeah. So it is asking me, so here it is, what is it is suggesting that, hey, if you want to learn the basics of AI, you can choose three paths. One is a smart card, which is, which are just the short learning nuggets. If you're just looking to read some articles and so on. Pathways are more like learning content based on specific learning outcomes. And then, this is the third option it's asking me to sort of consider. So let's say I'm just looking to browse a bit about okay, what AI is. So I'm going to go and select smart card, right? So see, it is suggesting that, hey, if you just want to select the artificial intelligence smart cards, I'm going to help you. And see what it has popped up for me. So these are just some very basic learning nuggets that have popped up for me in the space of AI, right? This is about machine learning. I can read about artificial intelligence. I can read about what are the tools and frameworks that are required. What is the sort of mathematics knowledge I need for AI and so on, right? So does from so I am a product manager for Diagnostics AI here, right? So as I mentioned before, it is very important to understand what your customer is looking for, what a customer's requirement is, right? For example, when you have a new learner here on this e-platform, they're already overwhelmed with so much information on this website. What do I do? How do I get started? And this is where Diagnostics AI comes into picture, and sort of it how it has helped me in terms of reaching this page, right? That, hey, I was looking to upskill myself in artificial intelligence, and I just wanted to learn some basic nuggets of AI, and these are the kind of recommendations it has come. So thus, when you are building a product, it is very important to empathize with customer and really address the steps which a customer can easily take in order to achieve their goal. Yeah. And similarly, maybe if we have 2 more minutes, I can quickly show another product here. But if you could sort of suggest, Dorothy, if we do have time. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is maybe share my screen again. I'm gonna share my entire screen. I remember there was a question earlier about, what if you could tell us about IoT applications and so on. So this is again, one of the blog posts that I had written about IoT products. And this is how an IoT sensor, for example, could look like at its heart, right? So you would have, like, let's say, a processor, a microprocessor, and then you would have all these real-time clocks and a TRNG, and these are all like very, very electronics engineering focused components that you see. And there is a cache memory. I think people who are interested here in computer sciences and electronics would understand the importance of a cache memory and a controller or a memory controller, and then importance of peripheral devices and so on. And then there is always a debug, etc. So this is also one of the products that I built when I was working at NVIDIA, or the company called as ARM. Yeah. and and I the reason I'm showing these two products is to really show to the audience that how technical, or how you have to use your engineering skills to build a product, as well as really use skills like your behavioral skills or customer empathy skills, right, to design products like the bot or the interest based diagnostic product that I just talked about. Yeah. And if you want to read a bit more about these products that I have described, I mean, I'm happy to share some links here. And, these are some of the links that are also present on my LinkedIn profile. So, in case anyone would like to read a bit about products and so on, they could also have a look there. And finally, I would like to conclude with, you know, if our learners here or if the students are already not too overwhelmed, I would highly encourage you to, you know, use social media massively to your advantage. Be it Instagram, be it Twitter or Facebook, or any other platform like LinkedIn, etc., that you prefer. It's very important that we use these platforms intelligently, and I also encourage these platforms to be used not only for entertainment purposes or just talking to your friends and family, but also to sort of follow your favorite influencers who are let's say posting content about the things that you that you enjoy, be it, let's say, artificial intelligence, or be it even hobbies like cricket or football, etc., whatever. And at the same time, you could also follow channels like Coach for Impact, and then there are several other channels that can educate you a lot about the kind of careers that you would like to go for, and the kind of careers that you would just be curious about. So one thing to take away here is really using social media very wisely. And then the slide sort of talks about the other online e-learning platforms where you can upskill yourselves in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of these amazing courses or the technologies that inspire or are of interest. So these are some few of the very popular ones, and I think Future Skills Prime is what you know the product, the organization that I work with as well. So it is indeed for the citizens of India. So I would highly encourage you to sort of explore this platform. And I think we can sort of conclude now from my side.
You gave us like a lot of insider information. I mean, insider, you gave us a lot of like useful information. Like, I
Yeah.
think this was very detailed, and I think we know everything about product management now, really. And also like joining, also like now I want to learn more. I definitely want to enter your sites, and I think adding you on LinkedIn is only a plus. So yes, I think the audience enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much, Samriti. I think we know everything about it now, and really, I'm quite impressed. Yeah, and I hope you also enjoyed talking to the audience and to be with us today at Recorem Talks. And yeah, so
Sure. Yeah.
we can let you go now, I think.
Sure. Sure. Thanks.
And thank you. Oh, she's gone already. Oh. Yeah, but thank you so much, Sabriti Sood. It was really enjoyable talking to you, and yeah, hope to see you soon. Who knows, right? And yeah, you guys also don't worry if your friends missed out on this session. They can still view this session and apply still for jobs during the post event, which goes until the 31st of August on Tuesday. So make sure that you let them know. And we will now take a 5-minute break, like to have a sip of water or something. And we will be back soon for another session. And yeah, let's take a 5-minute break and see you soon, like in 5 minutes. Hello again. Welcome back to JNU Recorem Talks. I would like to remind you all again about the Recorem's user experience contest with an exciting cash reward up to 10,000 rupees. And everyone who's attending our event live are automatically eligible for the competition. And all eligible candidates will receive an email from Recorem with further details. So still ask all your friends to join the event before 6 p.m. today to become eligible for this competition. So it's not too late to grab your chance and to get into it. Fingers crossed. So we just finished a really amazing session with Sabriti Sood on product management and AI. And our next speaker for today is Dr. P. Bala Subramaniam. So let's welcome him. So yeah, let's see if Dr. Subramaniam is here now. Hello. Welcome.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing very good. Are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Are you able
Yes,
to hear
I hear you a
me?
little bit. Yeah, I am able to hear you perfectly.
Okay. Very, probably it is good morning to you.
Yeah, it's about noon right now at home here
Oh,
in Berlin, Germany,
okay.
and it's quite okay weather right now. It's raining a lot these days.
Okay.
So we're trying to like absorb every sunlight we're getting. And how are you today?
Yes, I'm doing very good, and then I'm very happy to talk to in this platform.
Perfect. And we're very happy to have you here. So also like to lighten up a little bit and get loose a little bit, I would have like 2 or 3 questions for you. You could answer like very quickly. I just ask you one question with 2 possible answers, and you will just answer one of it. Are you up for it for a little game?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm actually quite simple. Do you prefer tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea. Uh,
Yes.
Next, cricket or football?
Cricket.
Cricket, yes. I accept that. I expected the answer. And I should also actually look more into cricket. It's quite interesting right now. And if you like Italian cuisine, would you prefer pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Pizza. Okay, very good. We have a very good place here as well. I mean, it always depends how the pizza is made, but then definitely I would also always prefer pizza more than pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's move on while we're actually here. We are very excited to get a introduction from who you are and what you are actually doing.
Yes. Okay. So I feel actually you can call me just Bala because my name
Bala,
is typical.
wonderful Bala. Mhm.
Yeah, a typical Indian name, tough to maybe call. So Bala is right. I happy to be called like that. So my journey in the data science started long back around in 2000, and I worked in more than 5 to 6 different IT and manufacturing industries, and I was heading the data science teams there. And in that particular time period, I got opportunity to deliver more than 200 plus projects in my total experience. And now I'm working as a professor in big data analytics at Goa Institute of Management, where I'm teaching big data. I'm teaching data science, machine learning to all students here. So currently, my role is in teaching, but my long experience is from IT and manufacturing, dealing with real-time data and delivering projects on that.
Okay, we're already getting some questions in. Perfect. Thank you for this insight. So so I think we just hop into the first question. Are you up for it? So what would a day in your life look like? like a typical day when you get up now? Now it's not morning, but if you get up, and what would like typical professional day in your life look like?
Yeah, actually now since I'm in teaching profession, my day starts with a student calling me, "Hi, professor, I have a doubt in this particular actually how to resolve it." At morning, even 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. I'll get a call. So my wake up call always starts with one student call. So that was
Okay.
my starting activity. And then when I enter into my faculty block at 9, and then I saw a line of students actually waiting for maybe some activity, maybe some project work, thesis work, like that. So I usually spend 9 to 10, 10, 15 in talking to students. And then my class starts at 11. I will go, I will perform in the class. I mean to say, I will just say what really data science for them is, and I teach all big data concepts and all those things. And then probably in the afternoon, I used to focus on my research work. I was working on a couple of image processing projects here, so I used to work on my research in the afternoon. But of course, in the evening, I used to talk to different companies where I'm working as a consultant for them. I used to talk to them on some hints, how to solve the problem, how to actually collect the right data, those kind of consulting advice I used to give. And of course, almost in the evening, 2 to 3 hours I'll spend with my family. I have a son and daughter. I play with them. And sometimes I used to help my wife in cooking as well in the night. So usually, typically, this my day goes by.
So you have a good work-life balance, you could say, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bala. Okay. So yeah, this is actually the second question is like now we're really getting into it. So what is data science, and most importantly, why is it important?
Good. What is data science? My answer is something that you cannot actually discover by your naked eyes. You need data science to discover some of the hidden patterns, some of the hidden things, either it is in manufacturing process, in any domain. If you want to find something which you are not able to do with your normal vision, normal mind, if you are not able to do, and if you have to use data science to get that hidden facts back, and that's a data science. And why means actually the power of the data is really enormous. Huge power lies in the data. It will give all the things that you need. For example, it will give the efficiency improvement, it will give the monetary benefits. The power of data is really very big. To actually get that power of data, you need data science. You need to learn machine learning. You need to know data science. You need to know what else. So these are the two answers. One is data science is a process of drawing the hidden facts, and then why means to get all kinds of benefits that you get from data.
And I always love this question actually. So let's talk about the evolution of data science over the last decade. There.
I'm there.
There
I'm
you
there.
are.
Yeah. You are talking
Did
about
I
evolution
go
of
right?
data. Yeah. Yes.
So how was data science back in 2010?
You're right. In 2010, at least in my experience, what I saw is all only pilot projects. Means I am not able to get the right data from all the missions. I used to get really small amount of data, and then sometimes I just run a pilot project of 2 3 months, stop that, take another pilot project and start that, and then show some results. And then sometimes I just stop myself with creating some nice visualizations. I can show the data in terms of graph, I can show data in terms of some pie charts and all those things. So in 2010 11, at least many of the companies actually involved in piloting works. Piloting works means which are actually phase one of the data science projects. Slowly, when it comes to, say, for example, in between 2015 2016, what I saw is the pilot projects become the actual deployments. Deployments means we scaled it up, and then we actually deployed in the manufacturing environment, and we saw the results coming up from the manufacturing. That was actually in 2015. And now in 2020 or 21, what I'm seeing is actually how automate the complete process without human being, how you can actually develop the data-based applications in any area. For example, either it is in manufacturing or healthcare or insurance, without any human intervention, how actually you can deploy the machine learning things. That was a trend I saw in 2021. And of course, even in many factories, in 2014, when I visited, there is a complete row of people working on a particular set of machines. But when I visited the same factory in 2021, I saw only one person sitting in a corner of the room and then working with his computer and maintaining all the machines in that particular room. So this is the kind of evolution what I saw in the data science.
Yeah, so you actually completed all the questions what we were about to ask. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So that was back in 2010. Then you explained how it was like in 2015. But I think the question 4 would be like, how was data science expected to evolve by 2015, and what was accomplished? So what did you expect? I mean, I heard about the pilot projects and then how it developed. So maybe you can go there more into detail, what was expected on the journey to be evolved in 2015, and then what you actually achieved.
Yes, in 2010, what is expected is whatever we do as a piloting, they expected 100% to be deployed in the environment. But what really happened is, out of 100 projects, whatever we take as a pilot projects, only roughly 25 to 30% of the projects are able to actually go to the next phase. Remaining 70% or 75% projects are actually stopped. So the expectation in 2010, what I saw at least from my management is, okay, you are taking 100 pilots and we are going to deploy all 100 pilots. That was the expectation. But reality comes where I saw that only roughly 30% projects are actually deployed. And of course, there are various reasons for that, but that was actually what happened in terms of projects. But in terms of data, if you see, there is an enormous increase happened in terms of data availability. For example, even in my own company, I used to get data from at least a couple of machines only in the beginning. But in 2015, what happened? I used to get data which is connected data from several machines at one place, kind of thing. So that was a change happened in the data availability as well.
Okay, interesting how it develops, how you're working on it, and what like is left behind, kind of, and what is solid then in the end. And what about like, okay, 2020, like 1 year ago, how did the skills and the jobs transform? If you could go there into detail.
Yes, one big change what I observed is because of the enormous technology development happened in the digital world. Say, for example, a lot of projects worked under digitization and digital transformation, where all the machines are now able to produce the data which can store in a digital form, actually. So that was a big revolution I saw. And of course, it is not data at silos, it is data at a connected data storing at a common place, which made available for the data science people to work on. So because of this data transformation, I saw a big change in the opportunities for the data science professionals. Still, I see last year Gartner report as well. For example, in 2018, I saw that almost, at least I'm talking in India, around 230K is the really required data science professionals. But if you see in the market, or if you see from the university talent, it is just only 140K available. Still, there is a huge gap between the required data science people to available data science people, and it is going to increase even in 2021. In 2021, I saw there is a huge requirement, but the gap is going to be increased like anything. So that was what I saw. And the reason for this is, as I told, the revolution that happened in the digital world made us to make us available of enormous amount of data. And to actually grab the power of the data, we need more people, actually. So job opportunities increase it exponentially. And the there is a gap always there with respect to the demand and supply in this case.
So now it's actually interesting how it's going to look in 2025. What do you think is going to be like the hottest data science skill in 2025?
Yes, actually, in 2025, what I'm looking at is today what data science persons or people doing their job, like coding in front of the computer, writing some prediction algorithms. These kind of jobs may not actually exist in 2025. What I'm thinking is all these kind of jobs will be automated. I mean, there is a robo will write all kinds of algorithms, whatever you want. You have to be in the process of creating such kind of mastered algorithms. One example I can tell you, say there is something called auto ML. So auto machine learning algorithms, they will automatically create all machine learning algorithms without any human intervention. So in 2025, what I'm looking at is machines taking most of the jobs, and then the human brain is going to just dictate that machine how you have to work. So that kind of role is going to be more, and then probably in 2025, if you ask me, a couple of things like cloud may be one of the important thing that is going to be very prominent. Cloud computing, and then computing which is not residing at your premise anymore. Cloud computing technology is going to be one of the key area. And then maybe the second thing what I'm thinking in 2025 is on the data side, like big data side. So the big data professionals as well as cloud computing professionals are going to lead in 2025, and all remaining things, most of the things currently what data science persons are doing, it will be automated. I mean, like there will be a lot of automated robots will do the job, and then you can just pass some info to robots. That's all. This is what a change I'm actually foreseeing in future.
So then, I mean, like in 2025, a lot like of the is also like very interesting for the students right now. Like if they're like going fresh on the market in 2025, now they know what might await them. So what skills should a fresher have to start a career?
Good.
And how do you think you prepare? Yeah.
You're right. Actually, in my past around at least 10 years, I visited almost all the campuses in India for the freshers recruitment. And if you ask me about the skills, I can say three important skills. The first one is, I can say, analytical skills. Analytical means they should know basic statistics behind it. Say what is some regression line, what is the random forest, what is the neural networks. They should know basic science. I can call it as analytical skills. So that is the first requirement, because they have to draw a lot of inferences, they have to draw a lot of conclusions from the machine output, and these analytical skills needed there. The second thing what I'm looking for is some, I can call that as a technical skills. For example, they should be well aware about any of the programming languages that are currently being used. For example, it might be Scala, it might be Python, it might be say MATLAB or anything like this. They want to develop a nice technical skills in terms of programming. This is going to be the key skill right now. And maybe the third important thing is, it may not be fall under any technical category, but it is multimodal communication skill. Multimodal communication skill is which is really lacking in many of the current data science people. They may create a wonderful code, but if are not able to present that in a beautiful way to the client, then it is not at all reaching them. You have to convince them, you have to actually convey the information with the right words and right presentation. So multimodal communication, how to handle the stakeholders, how to draw conclusions, how to keep the presentations very nicely, and actually how to speak. So this is the third skill I feel really important. So first one is analytical, second one technical, and third is probably in terms of communication. These are the three skills really plays very important for the freshers who are planning to come into the data science world.
Yeah, I totally agree with the communication skills. So I always think about, like, when I talk about the subject, I imagine like sitting on a kitchen table with someone. And I think this is an advice I can give everyone. Just because it doesn't, like, you can know what you know, but you also have to deliver it. So so the third one I could So the audience can think about maybe taking some acting classes, for example, or hiring some coach or something. That might be a good idea. I'm actually quite curious right now what the questions from the audience is right now. So I would say we just go straight up to the Q&A segment after the insights you already gave us, which we'll be asking right now. So the first question is, how is the job market for data science professionals going to be in the next 5 years?
Yes. Actually, at least for the last 6, 7 years, I saw an exponential growth in the job market, especially for the data science professionals. Data science professionals include data engineers, data scientists, and visualization experts together. There is an exponential growth happened. For example, as per one of the Gartner report I read recently, there is around in 2019 there is unfilled jobs without any people. If you see, there are around 90,000 jobs are unfilled in just in India market with data science professionals. So only there is a big gap of right skilled people. And if you see that what is going to happen in 2021, the number is actually doubling. It is going to be around 200K around, where those many jobs are really waiting for the freshers to fill with the right professionals. So going forward, what my gut feeling is, at least till 2025, the exponential rate of growing will be applicable. Every year it will be at least 2 times or 3 times more than the previous year, kind of. Because the couple of reasons I can tell you. One is huge investments are flowing in for the data science teams in each and every company. If you take the big giants like Amazon, Flipkart, these companies actually doubling or even more than funds are allocated for data science teams. So they need lot many people. So that is one reason. And second is technology, the storage technology, the reusability of the past data. All those things are really very high level available for the data science. These are the two reasons for the growth rate of the industry. At least till 2025 I can see an exponential growth. Then maybe after that slightly the curve might flatten. That means we may not expect an exponential growth, but there will be slight growth. So in a nutshell, I can see at least for next 5 to 6 years there is huge demand, and then really there is a big gap of right skilled people in the data science.
Okay, so it's actually a great time to be in your university right now and to hurry
Yeah.
up to add the market soon.
Yeah.
And the next question would be, what are the basic skills required to enter into data science area?
Yeah, just now we spoke about that. So there are three basic skills, as I explained earlier. One
Right.
is analytical or
Yes.
statistical related basic sciences, actually, I can call it as. And then the second is what I'm thinking about, technical skills, where they should aware of their programming languages, Python or even Scala or Hive, like that. And then the third one is communication. These are the three actually the key skills every company is looking into. And maybe I just heard from my previous speaker also, she was telling about the usage of the social media. Actually, suppose if you are doing something really good, why can't publish that in LinkedIn? Why can't you publish in somewhere else where your name will be get published? So you have to build your digital portfolio by doing some nice work, publishing it, and then let people see about what you are actually. So building the digital portfolio might be the other requirement or skill for the freshers who are entering here.
Yeah, today that is very important indeed. I mean, we as artists, we know that already, that you have to do it, and I think like just picking like the best work you have and then put it online. I mean, you guys are actually very
Yes.
qualified to do it, to take the best out of it. You know, like yeah, do it definitely for sure. Social media skills, mwah, is a plus and it's a must actually. Yeah. So actually, like 4 basic skills you need. Very good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and the third question is quite interesting. What are the reasons for failures of data science projects in general?
Yes, actually, we saw recently even the bigger projects taken by bigger giants like even Amazon's Alexa, not able to identify and passes wrong information to its boss. Even if you see the driverless cars by Google got some kind of wrong direction kind of thing. So, for every technology, there might be small pitfalls are there, gaps are there. But even in my past experience, I told already. So if I took 100 projects, only roughly 25 to 30% of the projects will go to the next phase, and the remaining will stop at the pilot phase itself. So if you ask me, especially the reasons, the first reason I want to quote it is availability of the right data or quality data. So sometimes what happens, because of in some urgency of starting a pilot project, we won't check the fact that whether this particular data is really relevant, really useful, really contains good quality or not. We won't check that and we'll start the project. So because of the gaps in the data, because of non-availability of the quality of data, we may get into failure mode at the end of the project. That is, data is the first reason. The right quality data is the first reason for the failure. Second reason is, as I told already, there is a gap in the skilled people availability to do that data science jobs. Okay, there's, for example, a person who is working as a plant engineer. He cannot perform all the data science jobs. If he asks to do that job, then probably there might be some failures might happen. So, skill gap is a second reason for the failure of the project. And then maybe the third, what I'm looking at is sometimes there is a lack of, I can say, deployment support. Data science need to work with different people. First, they have to work with domain people. They have to work with IT people, and they have to work with even different skill people to make it deployed in the real-time environment. Sometimes we may get some problems in the, say for example, we may not able to convey in a better way to IT people how to deploy. So in that case, it might not get deployed and it is a failure. So third reason for from my end is some gaps in the deployment area. I mean, like you may not get right people or you may not convince right way your results to the IT team. So because of this also sometimes failures happens. So first reason data, second reason is people, and third reason is from the IT side, the deployment side, we have some gaps. So at least from my experience, I can say these are the main three reasons that will come as a failure. But of course, if you ask me many more reasons, one reason I can say is sometimes there is a gap in understanding the domain. For example, assume today one supply chain expert came to me and then he told, "Hey, there is a huge many number of times the production is stopped because of non-availability of the stock." Okay, but if you just listen to this and then if you start working on that, then probably you may enter into failure. What you have to do, you have to actually dig deep why it is happening, what are the background history, from where you are getting the data from, how many vendors actually you are dealing per day, what are the tools and techniques you are using, what are the gaps in that. You have to little deeply you have to go into and then you have to solve. So sometimes people do not rightly identify the problem, and because of that also sometimes failure might happen. So these are some reasons, at least in my experience I can say failures happening for the data science projects.
Yeah, and I think like we have like a few more questions that kind of add to the question. Because it's quite interesting. What are the what is the most difficult what is the most difficult data science project you worked in your professional life?
Very good. So probably a couple of years back, okay. So I was working with one of my Japan client. He's actually the client is a farmer. They are actually growing tomato crops. Okay. So tomato crops usually get a disease called there is a gray mold disease. Okay. Because of the disease, what happens? The entire crop will get destroyed. entire crop will get destroyed. And then in Japan country, there is lot of restrictions to apply the pesticides. You cannot apply without knowing whether the disease is coming or not. You cannot apply many number of times, then your food, your particular crop will be actually not eligible for selling also. So because of the gray mold disease in tomato crop, lot of loss happening for the farmers. And it is actually not with one crop, there are several other crops are also getting attacked by the gray mold disease. So what is a challenge for us? By using data science, are you able to predict, are you able to tell us beforehand when this disease is going to occur for the crop, when this disease is going to occur for the crop? If you tell us well in advance, we can take some actions, we can prevent that time. So this is a challenge given to me. And then really why it is most difficult for me is there is no data available on the day one. I don't have any data. They are farmers, they are not storing data in any form, only everything is their brain. They will tell some reasons by word, but they don't have any data. That was a challenge started. And then actually we took the project. First what we have done is we actually deployed some kind of sensors that will collect temperature, humidity within that particular area of greenhouse. And then we actually run some analysis with temperature, humidity, and then slowly we improved. And then we actually created some models that will predict what is the probability that in another 2 days the gray mold disease will occur. And then we saw some success. Initially I remember I got only 30% of the times I got successful prediction, only 30%. Then slowly I improved my data collection methods, I improved my modeling techniques, and then slowly the percentage of accuracy is improving. And then finally in the last phase of my project, I'm able to deliver 92% of accuracy, where if I tell yes in 2 days this disease is going to occur, means surely 92% of the times the disease will occur. So that kind of accuracy I made, and this helped the farmer in a bigger way. He is able to save a lot of money, and this is actually scaled up. This is not only for tomato, and then we have actually applied for some other crops in Japan region. And then of course we, after that, we extended this to Mexico, we extended this to Malaysia, like that. So why I'm telling the difficulties, one is it is solving the human hunger actually. I mean, like, it is solving the some kind of food related problem. That's why I feel really interesting. And second is there is zero data in the starting point, and then I started from scratch, and then I made it really big. So this is one project I proudly feel that yes, with the data science we can solve some of the top interesting problems for the human beings. And of course I have lot many, at least to quote I can say this is the best project I can say till now I worked on.
Yeah, sometimes it is like that, like very challenging projects or very challenging times. If you really put your mind into it because you have to sell something, you learn a lot, and then actually you have like a you kind of manifest something really solid, I would say. Yeah. So interesting. I think we have more questions. What skills you will look for in a candidate while hiring him for a data science role?
Yes, we spoke about this, but at least to answer it one more time, I am in the placement team for more than at least 8 9 years for the last 2011 2012 to till 2020. So when I enter into a interview room, so first what I will look into is maybe how actually he is confident. Even though whatever answers he is giving, whether it is right or wrong, I'm looking at his confidence, how confident he is actually. And then probably the second part is the suitability in terms of the skills that he has and the openings that are, for example, whether he knows some programming, he knows some data science or not. These are some skills I will check about him. And then one more thing is probably I used to check when I in the interview committee. What I will check is what is the top goal that he will set for himself. Will he satisfied in achieving some goal, like if I get a job of data scientist, that's there. Just my goal is like that. Or you want to solve the challenging problems, you want to face the difficult situations. How, what, where you want to actually move about, or what is your plan for future? That is something I'm really interested. So these are some of the things I usually look upon candidate who comes for the data science role.
Yeah, so definitely confidence and being able to go through like challenges and of course knowledge. So this you can add to
Yeah.
the three most important skills. So in the end, yeah, fair. So yeah, you guys, I hope you
Yeah.
guys all wrote it down. What is important? Um, and yeah, those are great questions so far from the audience. I really liked it. And the next one. Wow, you're on fire. Which country is making use of data science to the maximum, and where does India stand in this aspect?
Okay, so probably there are multiple answers for this question, and this answer might vary from person to person, because how they are looking into the data science world, kind of. Probably from my idea, I visited many European and then of course American countries, and then I saw the how the development is happening. So if you see, as a country which is making really good progress in the use of data science, is maybe the US. The US is, in my view, tops. But if you see the count of data science people who are really working on the data science problems, probably I can quote the countries like India and China really on the top of the list. I mean, like count wise, for example, many data science professionals working from India for a US country, for a US product, for a US company. So on the country wise, I can say US is really on the top of the list, and then India might be somewhere around the fifth or sixth position maybe. But in terms of the number of people getting trained, in terms of number of institutes that are having data science courses, if you see that, then probably I can say India and China is really going very fast in this direction. And of course, I can say yesterday only I read only in India, especially if you see the data science professionals, 240,000 data science professionals are getting trained or come out of their colleges with a data science degree. So this is the data for 2019 and 2020. 240,000 is really big number actually. Okay, so I can say count wise, India is in the top, but applications or country wise, if you see, US is really progressing a lot, and then followed by some of the European countries, even in the case Germany, where from last I can say 6 7 years I visited more than 30 40 times Germany, and then I saw really big development happening in terms of data science applications. I used to visit Stuttgart, Frankfurt, and then I see really good number of companies coming up that are using data science.
Okay. So I think we have like a lot of questions actually here. How many questions can we still? Okay, well, it's really flowing. So which industries are yet to utilize data science, and how convenient is it to implement data science?
Yes, there are some traditional domains that are actually not much utilize the data science. For example, if you see from a past company itself, I can say that the HR domain, human resource domain, where there are some development happen, but not completely equipped with the data science applications. There are multiple reasons. One is data sensitivity. HR data always comes with a lot of data sensitivity, data privacy issues, and which really stopping to get many applications to be developed there. That is one area I can say where still more development might happen. And the second is on the automation side, still more developments. There are more chances to implement data science projects. Automation means a lot of work where human beings, I mean, like people are actually working. I will tell you one example. In the quality control department, there are persons standing and they are manually checking whether that particular product is good or bad. quality wise. So these kind of jobs can be automated very easily. So automation is one more area. I can say very specifically, industrial automation is one area where many chances are there where data science can be implemented. And how convenient, if you ask me, then probably automation is really convenient because, as I told, every company actually dedicatedly giving funding for the data science projects, and it is very easy to implement automation there. Why it is really lucrative means we are getting really very immediate return on investment. For example, if you do some automation at a particular area in a quality control, if you take, you will actually save a lot of money in terms of the amount that you're paying to the human resources there. Okay, so that is really automation side. It is really very convenient. But on other side, like for example, HR and other domains, probably it is slightly difficult to implement the data science projects.
Okay, wow. So yeah, also especially like in Germany, like about the privacy of the data. So I think Germany needs a lot of development in there for sure.
Yes.
We have one more question, actually, still for you. If so, can a candidate from non-IT background kickstart a career in data science? If yes, what are the immediate steps? That would be a question for me, for example, as well.
Okay. Actually, one positive news I can tell is, for example, the college where I'm working and the people who admitted for the data science degree, big data analytics degree, I see that at least 40% of them are coming from non-IT background. And actually, it is not much really difficult for a non-IT background person to start a career in data science. Only what is driving is the enthusiasm, the openness to learn many things. That is actually kickstart the career in the data science. And a non-IT person can really shine well in data science. So there is no doubt in that. So first answer is yes, a non-IT professional can become a data science person very easily if he has a strong motivation, strong enthusiasm in his mind. That is one. And the second, if yes, what are the immediate steps? Okay, so as I told, suppose if you are coming from a non-IT background, then probably there are very very nice pathways or career paths that you can enter into data science field in the beginning. For example, I'll tell you one role. There is a specific role called visualization expert, where you are actually using the data and then you are creating very nice dashboards. Okay, the dashboards are not actually static dashboards, they are actually dynamic dashboards. Here no I'd say much technical skills required, no programming skills required. You need to have some logical thinking of how to create that particular dashboard, which will really better usage from the client end. For example, assume you are creating a dashboard for the stock of a particular company. If a store manager is looking at it, what needs to be displayed? Suppose the senior manager is looking into that particular dashboard, what needs to be displayed? Suppose a vice president looking into dashboard, what needs to be displayed? So a dynamic dashboard that will show some useful information at different levels of people. So this kind of visualization needs really a nice logical thinking and then nice creative skills actually. So this is one area where actually people, non-IT people really find very easy gateway to enter it. Once suppose you enter there, probably you can slowly develop your additional skills, like for example a small coding activities you can do. Even say for example you are using a software called Tableau is a visualization software. You can add your own code to Tableau and then you can deploy it in Tableau. So slowly you can develop. So I can say immediate steps is looking for the path or looking for the careers which involves less coding in the beginning. Start with that particular job or aim at that particular job and slowly expand your knowledge and skills in other domains like programming, and then probably slowly developing the technical skills and other things. Even that's also I want to refer my previous speaker. She already told very nicely about Coursera. Coursera is one learning platform where really you can learn a lot. Actually, you can learn a lot. You will get basic courses to all advanced courses in Coursera, and many of these edtech platforms are offering all these courses free of cost. They are charging only if you want to get a certificate. They are charging, otherwise it is free of cost. So start with that. Enter into the area where it is little bit easy for a non-IT professional, and then slowly develop your skills. Slowly develop your skills in terms of programming, in terms of data science, statistical science or analytical science, and then you will become a good data science professional in some time. So that was at least from my end. I want to propose these steps for you.
Yeah. So yeah, start with a lot of confidence and motivation, that's for sure. So you already have a good energy package here to then, upskill yourself in all the necessary technological skills. Sounds logical for sure. Yeah, nice. Wow, you got like the audience really from you. Thank you, Bala. Got a really great input and insights to know, how to get into data science. Quite interesting. I'm also very happy about learning a lot actually here. So yes, thank you so much. We also unfortunately have to let you go now into the evening so you can be with your family now. I assume it's a little later right now, right? Yeah. So
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm very happy to talk to you today. And I wish very good luck for the students who are planning to become data science professionals. Thank you very much. Bye
Us as
bye.
well. Thank you, Bala. Have a nice evening. Bye bye. Wow, that was a really nice talk and gave you like more insights. I think your guys are really your heads are packed with information and inspiration and motivation and maybe even confidence right now. So I'm even ready to start in all those fields right now. And like I promised in the beginning, let's go back and analyze and revisit the live event analytics to find out on the latest count of jobs. So let's see how many matches we have here. This is like the most interesting. So I see here, wow, JNU number of matches, if I read that correctly, are 251. Nice. And 58 job applications. Great. Wow, quite exciting what you can do like in one session, right? Congratulations. And JNU, you have really skilled students. And now with this input, there will be even more skilled and upskill more. Perfect. So all the best, folks. And I'm crossing fingers. And I would also like to thank all the faculties from JNU for supporting our initiative and giving this opportunity to your students. That's amazing. That's a really, really great thing to do. And so unfortunately, that brings us to the end of today's Recorem Talks. So also be sure, because we talked about it a lot today, follow us on social media and to be updated on our future events, companies, and most importantly, jobs. So we will soon have many remote international internship and job opportunities for you guys to discover. All right, so I would say have a great evening ahead, and I hope to see you soon. So, bye-bye from Germany.